welcome back. You have just tuned in to Women's AM. This morning I'm joined by Sister Nusrat, Sister Saima, and our special guest this morning is Joanna Ali. So welcome back, Joanna. Jazakallah khair for joining us here on the show this morning. And as I said in the introductions, you've been a revert now for 9 years, mashallah.
Yeah,
so that must seem like quite a long time ago.
It does now, yeah, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So can you tell us a little bit about what attracted you to the deen in the first place and how did you become Muslim?
Well, funnily enough, it was actually the tube bombings in London,
right,
2005.
Okay.
Basically, obviously, there was a lot of stuff in the papers about Islam at that point, and I knew that obviously newspapers are not necessarily the best source of information about Islam. So I was just looking for information, like what is this Islam? You know, what is it all about?
Wow.
So I wasn't really looking for, you know, a change or anything like that. And then when I just started reading about Islam, it made sense. I realised it was the truth.
I think that's absolutely fascinating. So it's completely off your own back. It wasn't somebody kind of walking you through it or anything like that. Yeah, you just heard about it in the media and wanted to find out the facts for yourself.
That's right, yeah.
Alhamdulillah, I think that's lovely. And I think that shows real strength of character, because I know for me, when I came into the deen, I found it really hard, and I often think I couldn't have done it on my own like you'd done. Alhamdulillah, I came in with my husband. So, you know, I really admire that, and I'm sure you're going to bring, you know, a lot to our discussion today, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Without further ado, let's go straight to her views, where today we are discussing Ramadan for reverts. The coming of Ramadan brings with it many hopes and fears for the one who believes in Allah. If one feels a colossal rising in their iman and sees a boost in their spirituality during Ramadan, inshallah they have attained some level of success. Ramadan is an opportunity not only for one's personal growth in iman and as a Muslim, but for the whole Ummah as a whole to become stronger. However, for many of our revert brothers and sisters, this is a different story. This is what we're going to be discussing today, and don't forget you can join our discussion by calling in. The number will be appearing on your screens throughout this segment, or why not send us a tweet at Islam Channel #WAM15. So Joanna, I'm going to come to you first. So tell us a little bit, what is it like for a revert's Ramadan?
I think the thing is, it's going to be varied.
Yeah.
So really, I can tell you about my experience. I mean, for me, the first Ramadan's very exciting. Obviously, we were talking about Ummah. This show's about Ummah, sense of Ummah and Ramadan. And for me, I felt that Ramadan is the time when you actually do feel more connected with the Muslim community, because you know that everybody else is fasting. Some people that maybe are not practicing, they start practicing during Ramadan. Everybody just sort of starts coming together. But that's really what I felt. Obviously, I live in London, so there's more Muslims around. It must be different for sisters that don't live in London.
I think that's interesting. So who did you spend your first Ramadan with? Who did you eat with and that kind of thing?
Basically, I was at university at the time, sort of doing postgraduate, so there was Islamic society there, so I had that community.
That's very useful.
There was a family that I knew, they're now my in-laws.
Oh, wow.
Alhamdulillah, and they obviously invited me for iftar and everything like that. They made me very welcome. So for me, alhamdulillah, I did have a lot of support, but I didn't mind sort of going, you know, just going to a mosque on my own and then just finding the community there. That was okay for me as well.
I think that's it, though, isn't it? You've got to have the confidence to kind of do that, and I think that does ask a lot of people.
Not everybody.
You know, I think everybody's had the horrific experience of, you know, bursting into a mosque and realising you've gone in through the man's entrance instead of the women's entrance. So, you know, there's a lot to contend with when you're new, isn't there? Sister Nusrat, what about you? What's your first Ramadan like?
Well, you know, going back to what Sister Joanna was saying, yes, it's very varied. For me, my first Ramadan was quite an interesting experience because it's fasting in an Islamic way. Because prior to my conversion to Islam, because I've been a Muslim now for quite some time, actually over 10 years. I'm 23 now. So I came into Islam at a young age, and my understanding of fasting was through the Roman Catholic perspective, which kind of made a difference between abstention and actually...
Is that Lent?
Yes, okay, Lent. And even the stipulations regarding do you fast for 40 days and 40 nights, or do you just abstain from certain things, such as not eating meat on Friday, for example. So there were not really any concrete stipulations, and given the Reformation that was actually happening during the Reformation of fasting fasting during the changing of laws. Particularly, I think there's a constitution done by Pope Paul VI in 1966 saying that you may not even need to fast. You can just give up something that you like, or just engage in acts of good deeds, such as taking care of the oppressed, or doing something that doesn't require fasting. So for me, there was that lack of clarity. And given like any other Catholic child at the time, I just gave up something I liked, and at that time it was salad. But you don't really see the struggle. You don't really see the struggle in it, do you? But my first Ramadan was interesting. I was excited. I was full of life, and it was the first time I'm actually going to be fasting without any food. So for me, it was actually quite exciting. I fasted with my dad. We did suhoor together, and I had my orange juice. And even during the days, we had this opportunity to even look at. I don't know if you know Adam's World by the Islamic Circle of North America. They also helped me not only
the puppet.
Yeah, the puppet. And
yeah, they're very good.
I used to watch it all the time, and it was something that helped me as a child kind of get into it, so to speak. So I was very thankful for that experience, mashallah.
It's very nice you had the support there of your father as well. I think sometimes, I mean, I know for me, with my first Ramadan, I felt the sense of excitement in the first maybe week to 10 days, but I have to say that did wane over sort of prolonged periods of breaking my fast with kind of beans on toast on my own, and nobody else really sort of understanding what I was doing or why I was doing it. So I think there can be a lot of obstacles that reverts face, during Ramadan, and this can, it can affect, Iman and essentially your journey sort of through Islam. Sister Saima, can you tell us a little bit more about some of these obstacles?
Yeah, I'm not a revert myself, but I've got to know, alhamdulillah, I've had the honour of getting to know a lot of reverts, especially in recent times, actually, a lot of young reverts who are still living with their family. So what I've heard is the sense of isolation, because being a Muslim nowadays is hard as it is, but becoming a Muslim this is like the most hardest time to choose Islam. It's because of the media propaganda against Islam. So you have a wonderful relationship with your family, you have a wonderful relationship with your siblings. You're the light of a party and everything like that, and then you go into your household which you have to live in, and you can't relate to your mother and father. Your siblings don't want to know you anymore. They don't understand you. They don't get you. You're getting up at 2 a.m. in the morning. You may be disturbing the family. No one's doing what you're doing. No one understands what you're doing. So, and then you're watching the rest of the Muslims who've been Muslim for years or born Muslims, all enjoying this hype and fun of Ramadan and excitement of Ramadan. And even though you're part of 1.6 billion Muslims, you can still feel the most loneliest Muslim on the planet, because you haven't got a friend yet amongst those 1.6 billion Muslims. You want to have someone that you can talk to, someone that knows you, someone that understands you, you can be yourself around. If you don't have that, it can be an incredibly lonely and stressful time for a revert.
I think as well, when we look at personal circumstances that are pivotal in this point, we find that, yes, home circumstances can make it difficult. Suhaib Webb actually mentioned in one of his lectures that for some people, if they do fast, they face being completely cast out by their families. There was one girl that had to actually break her fast with protein shakes, because if she fasted, her mum would have kicked her out.
Wow, so many struggles, that are faced out there by our sort of brothers and sisters, and we should be doing more. So, Sister Joanna, what is our Islamic duty towards the new Muslims in our community?
The thing is, it's not just Ramadan. It's not just in Ramadan. I mean, these are the struggles of reverts in general.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's like, I think maybe I was trying to think about this recently in a gathering of reverts, was that maybe with born Muslims, maybe just not realising what you have in a way. Obviously you're a revert as well, but the born Muslims, in the sense that even if your family's maybe not practicing or something like that, you will have a sense of, there is that at least Ramadan. Like a lot of people, they will at least do Ramadan, or at least there's the belief in Allah in the house, there's respect for the Quran, there's respect for Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You'll never find,
I think that's absolutely true, and I think you've kind of picked up on a good point there. Somebody sent me an email recently saying that, yes, Ramadan can compound these feelings, but it is something we should carry on after Ramadan as well, inshallah. We've had a great start so far, but we do have to go for a quick break. Inshallah, we'll return in a few minutes to conclude this discussion. Just before we go, here is a reminder of this week's competition.